Is this the Dr. Ray?
What are you asking me?
Are all people mentally ill?
I have no idea.
Boy, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Now, why would I say something so dumb?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't remember what I said.
You're always contagious, by the way.
Am I really that awful?
I don't care. I'm not concerned with that stuff.
And I guess that's true, but doggone.
As usual, you're doing all the talking.
Well, are you better than God?
No way.
I'm going to give you some bad news. You got a problem.
I just wanted to call and get some wise advice, hopefully.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
I've been asked when I go to gatherings or parties or informal places, how do you keep people from asking you for advice once they find out what you do? I stumbled upon it. This is a true story. Actually, twice. My wife met me for lunch in between clients, and we were sitting there, and she said, "You realize your polo is inside out?" And I looked down, and I saw these stitches where they shouldn't be, and I saw this tag where it shouldn't be. I said, "I had 3 clients this morning. None of them said a word, although they looked very skeptical about my advice." And another time, when I was working at the West Care Mental Health Center in Massillon, Ohio, I used to lean back in my desk chair and I'd put my feet, I'd cross them up on the desk and kind of relax, kind of creating a kind of a sensitive, not indifferent attitude. And the lady said, and she did comment, she said, "You realize that you have 2 different shoes on?" They were the same style, but one was black and one was brown. And, not to lose my cool and to keep my credibility, I said, "I do. And I have a pair exactly like them at home." Both stories are true. And I realized either one would be enough. If I go to a party, very few people would give credibility to my advice. Now, I want to tell you that I have the right shoes on right now, and my polo is right side out. So therefore, give some credibility to what I'm going to say today. If you'd like to get on the show for my credible guidance, 877-573-7825, 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number to call to get onto the program. As you can tell, for a living for many years, I was a practicing psychologist. I still am, although not at the heavy level that I did in earlier years. Shoot, there for a while, you work 40 hours a week at a mental health center. You just see who comes in and who the secretaries think who should get the intake. But that said, I still see people. Now here, I don't do therapy, obviously. This is education. It's just to talk with you, get a few ideas, a few nuggets, hear what your situation is, circumstances. Sometimes pretty heavy situations you guys call in with, no question about that. And other times it's a perspective that you'd like to poke at, see what you can hear. Willing to do that. Specific questions about people, situations, rock, paper, scissors in your life, or general questions that you'd like to ask. So the number there to get a hold of my call screamer there in Ann Arbor, Eric Dumont. He used to be Tremont, but he's a little older now, so now it's just Dumont. And, of course, my producer man, Andrew Kruchek there. Between the two of them, they have 4 children. That's kind of neat. Even though they still don't listen to anything that I offer as far as child rearing and parenting goes. And I try not to take it personal. I just assume they're busy doing their job. 877-57-EQUAL. Love to hear from you. Now, as I have been wont to do, hope I'm not nagging you too much and you people are getting sick of this. On August 18th and 19th at Holy Spirit Catholic Church, and since there's Holy Spirit Catholic churches all over the U.S., this one is in Atlanta, home of the Quest Catholic radio station, AM 1100. Big boomer of a station down there in a major market. Good Lord permitting, we're setting up got all the options in place as well as the guests and the lighting and the cameramen. And I'm going to do my own stunts probably for the last year, doing my own stunts. And then after that, I will request from EWTN a body double. We'll be taping the first episodes of season number 17, Living Right with Dr. Ray, the TV show on EWTN, Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Saturday nights and 9:30 in the morning on Tuesdays. Used to be on at 5 a.m. on Fridays. I don't know if it still is. It's kind of like where you hide the worst ball player on your Little League team. You hide him in right field. That said, if you would like to be part of the audience, live audience makes the show. I've always said that. I will continue to say that until the show is no more. Without you guys, there is no show. You ask questions, you clap, you're part of the bits. Bring your kids. We love having kids there. I have all kinds of fun with the kids. Some of our best bits have been done with kids. So if you go to thequestatlanta.com, the banner's right there. You can sign up for 1, 2, 3, or 4 shows. No question about that. Love to have you. Some people have actually stayed for all 4 shows, and I was either totally impressed or realized they had no life whatsoever. But either way, I was glad. I was glad that they were there. So I'd love to have you. We'll feed you in between the shows a little bit, not fancy meals, not big buffets, but food. Get some food there, and we'll have a lot of fun. I can guarantee it. Love to have you. So if you're anywhere near the driving distance there, let's see. Holy Spirit's about I think it's north of Atlanta. If I'm wrong, I don't know about that, but I think it is. Love to have you. So please join us. Not uncommonly, I will ask a parent or parents in my office who they're coming in because they think that this child, and this is a particularly prominent view of theirs if they have more than one child, because this child they consider so out of the norm of their children. This one is Cujo, Damien, Chucky, Lucifer. Just tough. Borderline pathological. They have all kinds of questions about him or her. Most of the time it's a boy, though. And they're convinced this is the personality of this child. I will ask routinely, let's go to school? Yes. What do the school people say? And there comes the first puzzlement of the session. And parents say, they just look like, I don't understand any of this. Teacher doesn't see any of this. Glowing reports. He's great in class. And this is generally true. No, it's not a one-to-one relationship, but it's generally true with the younger kids, especially true of the younger kids, under 10 or 11. I don't want to say almost always, but I think well over 50% of the time, I will hear that this child does not do any of this in school. I ask the parents, well, how do you explain that? I mean, if this is the child's personality, if this is who he is, why isn't he doing that at school? Now, some will say, yeah, he started at school. They will say that. But many will say that I have no idea. And they'll offer various explanations. Well, I think he holds it in all day, and then when he gets home, he has to explode. Or, well, you think he just feels more secure with us, and he's willing just to kind of let his real self show, that he suffocates his real self at school. I don't think any of those are the major explanation. The major explanation is he reads the situations. And there's something about the school setting that he reads, and it's not accurate. It's not an accurate read. But he reads it as more authoritative than his parents. He's come to, if you will, dance with his parents' disciplined style, whether it's too wordy, whether it's too permissive, whether it's explosive, whether it's inconsistent, whatever it is about his parents' style, whether they can't enforce the discipline, he's learned to push. And anything can become a potential eruption or resistance or defiance or ugliness. So why doesn't he do this at school? Because he reads the teacher as having more authority. The reality is the teacher does not have a fraction of authority of a parent. Teacher can't do much. What can the teacher do? They can't even give an essay. They can't even make you stand in the corner. They can't paddle. They can't do anything. But it's the child's perception of the teacher having authority. Now, the question becomes, is he suffocated at school? In other words, is school just someplace that he just has to hold it all in and he's so uncomfortable and he's so miserable and he can't wait to get home where he can be his true self? No. The teacher will report he's very happy, he's very content, he's a delightful child. I don't see anything where he's just holding it all in and he's about ready to explode. No, none. So what happens is that it's in the dynamic between the parent and the kids. That's where it is. The good news is there's nothing really wrong with the kid. What's wrong is the dynamic. These are generally good parents, and much of the time I want to get parents in my office that I can work with, so I screen. But they're underestimating, or they've developed very bad habits, or there's some kind of family friction. Something's gone on that this child has become very, very recalcitrant, obstreperous, pugilistic, truculent. When you're a psychologist who deals with behavior problems, you got to know those words. As a result, the parents are flummoxed. They don't understand. Why did he listen to his teacher and not us? Because he's concluded the teacher has authority of some type, even though it's a fraction of the parent. Teacher has 20 kids and an inch of authority, and you have 3 kids and 20 inches of authority. That's the irony. It's a good sign, though, because it really helps me get the parents to realize that there may be nothing pathological about their child. We got to look at what's gone on between them and the kid, especially in the discipline arena between them and the kid. It's a good sign. I tell them, your son is showing you he's very capable of self-control. He's doing this with really not a whole lot of discipline and authority hanging over his head. He's doing it because he reads that that's the expectations of the classroom. It's interesting, isn't it? And I know, and I think that's why individual therapy for behavior problem children, especially the younger ones, isn't very successful at all. Because so much of their conduct depends upon not some kind of psychodynamic upheaval, but a system upheaval. System meaning the family or the parents. The Jekyll-Hyde syndrome? It's not really Jekyll-Hyde. It's normal behavior across very different expectations in the situations. All righty. When we come back, your calls, 877-573-7825. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Dr. Ray Guarendi.
July 17th, 18th, and 19th, the St. Joseph Parish in Dexter will host their 47th annual Summer Festival. Admission and parking are free. Friday evening kicks off with a delicious spaghetti dinner, followed by a special concert. Saturday and Sunday features live music under the big tent. There's a classic car show, arts and crafts, many children's activities, and inflatables, along with plenty of delicious food and beverages. Visit AveMariaRadio.net and click on events for more details.
Resetting your password, unsubscribing from emails, printing anything. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with an auto owner's insurance independent agent, getting the right coverage for your business doesn't have to be one of them, so you can get back to more important things, like learning how that printer works. That's simple human sense.
Call Choice Insurance Agency at 734-641-4200.
This week on Christ is the Answer, Father John talks about the Ten Commandments. After freeing the Hebrew people from slavery in Egypt, the Lord gave Moses the new rule to which the people of God would abide as a part of the new covenant. The most recognizable of these rules are the Ten Commandments. Join us this week as Father John expounds on each of these powerful commands we still look to today as a guide for holy living, as Father poses the question, why be good? Tune in for Christ is the Answer, Monday through Fridays at 11 a.m. on Ave Maria Radio.
Ave Maria in the Afternoon is underwritten by the following nonprofit organization: Real Estate for Life. Buying or selling your home or business property? Real Estate for Life can connect you with one of 1,400 pro-life real estate agents around the world. When Real Estate for Life receives a referral fee, they donate 70% to Ave Maria Radio and Human Life International. More information at realestateforlife.org or 877-LIFE-US1. That's realestateforlife.org.
Dixieland, a uniquely American form of music. All of the instruments going in different directions, but they complement each other. Create a beautiful melody. Mark called earlier last week, and he asked a question. He was dating a young lady that he really likes, but she is Lutheran. Mark is Catholic, and he was asking about potential things in the future of their relationship. And I asked Mark to call back, and he did. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Dr. Ray, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for asking me to give you a status. You were saying, if I recall correctly, in a gentle way, and making clear to her that I don't want her to do anything because I want her to do it, but only if she thinks it's the right thing to do. I asked her if she would be willing to learn more about the Catholic faith, and if she decided with her own mind that it was true, if she would be willing to become Catholic. And with a big smile on her face, she said yes. So thank you for guiding me.
Well, that's great. I think that if she sees what the church teaches, if she sees its reasonableness, if she sees morally how it all makes so much sense, especially given what research has even said about morality, and if she sees history, and if she's a reasonable individual, she'll recognize that there is all truth to this.
Yes, and in addition, I have to be a good man, because I don't want to undermine, the truth, beauty, and goodness of Jesus and the church. So, so far so good. I've treated her with great respect and purity, and we're also praying together. I thought it would be nice if we tried, the night prayer of the Liturgy of the Hours, because it's, mostly Psalms, and so we've been doing that. So so far so good. And you're going to love this. So she went to Mass with me, and I introduced her to our pastor, and I told her, that she's interested in the Catholic faith and would like to learn more. And it was brilliant what he said. He said, "Oh, that's great. Let's just let this percolate for a while."
Yeah, she didn't feel the rush. Right.
I thought that was beautiful.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, basically confirming I'm not pushing you, and your boyfriend's not pushing you. He wants this to be an honest embrace.
Yeah.
That's really
Dr. Ray, thanks so much.
That is great. Now, I will tell you this, though, Mark. I read somewhere, I was reading in Baptism Today, the May issue of Baptism Today. It said that if you and your girlfriend get married, she becomes Catholic, you baptize your kid, I get a percentage credit. I don't know the exact percentage. I'd have to look it up. I get a percentage.
Well, Dr. Ray, I'll definitely give you a percentage because it would be an incredible miracle because she's beyond the age of fertility. So you name the dollar amount, and I will give it to you if the Lord does that miracle.
That's right. I remember now, Mark, because I said you sound like you're 30 and you said you were 56.
Oh, almost 57.
Okay. All right. See, this is approved to these. That approved to these people. I remember these details of this call. How in the heck would I have remembered you were 56 if I wasn't paying exquisite attention to everything you said?
I'll bet it was your call screamer who reminded you, Dr. Ray. Tell the truth now.
Yeah, he said there's this thing up there that says Mark is 56. Mark, he just kind of like wrote it down like 9 times. Mark is 56. That's great. Well, I think that's great, Mark. That's good to hear. I always get nervous when I say, please give me an update, because somebody could call back and say, yeah, I did what you said, and it stinks.
Well, I'd be happy to, in a couple months, call you back, and
sure,
if you'd like me to.
That sounds great, Mark. I appreciate it. By that time, you'll be 57, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I will still be 57 in a couple months, so make sure you get that right.
Take care. Good luck, my friend.
Thanks, Dr. Ray.
All right, bye. When I was dating my wife, she wasn't Catholic, but she was a very reasonable, open-minded individual who didn't cling necessarily stubbornly to things she didn't know anything about. That she let facts and openness influence her conclusions. And that was a great thing. It sounds like that's what Mark's saying, that this woman he is dating is not Catholic. She's not anti-Catholic, but she's saying, I'll look into this. I will definitely look into this. That's nice to hear. All right, let's go to John from Winchester, Virginia. Isn't that 512, or what's the route that goes through Winchester, John? 515, something like that?
A couple of them. 522 is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was a 5-something.
It's not the main road. The main road is 81, which is like a main thoroughfare.
Yeah, that's the interstate, right? Yeah, the interstate goes. I used to go. My daughter went to school in Stanton. I forgot the women's college there, but we used to pass through Winchester all the time. All right.
You've been coming from up north.
Oh yeah, we're coming up from the North Canton area. You got how long have you been estranged from these adult kids?
Hey, I called before, but it was at the end of your show, so I wasn't sure I would call. But I just found this new radio station, Guadalupe Radio Network, and so I've been listening. So here I am again. That's
a wonderful network. It really is. They're a big network, and they're great people. So how old are these adult kids?
They're 45 and 43. It happened when they were like 14, 13 and 15. And we used to be told by our friends that as a divorced couple, we got along better than any divorced couple that they'd ever met. And then all of a sudden I wouldn't allow my daughter to go to the mall all day with her cousin because I thought it was unsafe. And, for example, it was the mall where the Lyons twins were abducted back in the 70s, which is famous. You might even actually know about it. Do you know of the Lyons sisters that were abducted in the 70s?
I would like to say, John, that I'm highly offended that you think I would be alive in the 70s, but I can't say that and be honest on this program.
Well, the people still talk about it now. I think they found the person in the last 10 years and they found they were able to track the person down who did it.
Stay there, John. That music tells me I have to take a break, but stay right there, and we'll find out what's going on with these older kids. This is Dr. Ray. I'd love to hear from you. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program. Kids, jobs, stress, family, friends. Nice to have you with me here. I am talking to John Winchester, VA, a 43 and a 45-year-old kid. And now John pinpointed the fulcrum of the trouble back when he denied his adolescent permission to go to the mall unsupervised because there was a very, very high-profile, awful situation that happened. And at that point, John said, well, that was a turning point in the estrangement. And I, last time John called, showed skepticism of this. Skepticism, total skepticism. Because I said, John, come on. There had to be a whole bunch of stuff building in between. So, John, am I right or am I right?
I'm not sure if I know what you mean. You mean there's more to it than just the Lyon sisters?
Yes.
Crime?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in general, I spent time at that mall when I was an adolescent. And
no. I don't mean your decision. I don't mean your decision.
Okay.
I mean the relationship deterioration.
Well, I suspect that it was what happened is that the daughter, the 15-year-old daughter, said, "You can't." Sorry about the noise. You can't tell me what I'm allowed to do when I'm with my mom, when I'm on visitation with my mom.
But wait a minute. Hold on a second, John.
Agreed.
That was 30 years ago. So what has happened in the ensuing 30 years in terms of you reaching out or them not reaching out that has led to this decades-long estrangement?
It's never been any different. It never changed.
So in other words, is it that they say, I liked living the rest of my childhood with mom because she's more permissive than dad, and therefore, as I got to be a young adult, I just don't like the way dad does things?
Well, a lot of times I don't know what's going on behind the scenes because they don't tell me.
Well, but is there any contact at all?
Yeah, there was for a while, and I thought it was going to be a catharsis. But then I realized after being back together in the relationship again for I don't know, 6 months, a year, that I was being treated sort of like a pariah. But I never did anything wrong.
So you never understood why.
Well, here's what happened. So there's a little detail, this very little. So because of this problem, my ex-wife decided that she was no longer going to honor the divorce decree, which was the visitation arrangement. And then the kids agreed, and they were able to access a lawyer, like ad litem, appointed to the children, and then they divorced me. And my daughter told me that I was trying to put her mother in jail by bringing him to court to get this divorce decree enforced. But the lawyer ad litem just taught the kids how they didn't have to come visit me and they could just not come.
And they were teenagers at the time?
Yeah, it started out, I think they were 15 and 13. So it lasted about a year, I guess.
Okay, so bring me up to date here. So for decades now, you've had minimal contact, if at all. Have you had no contact in how long?
Minimal. I don't know. A year.
Okay.
Very little. We don't get along.
All right. Here was your question that you've decided to let it go, let them go. And your question was, is that a good idea? Well, whether it's a good idea
recently,
well, John, I'm gonna have to hurry you along. I'm gonna have to hurry you along here because there's obviously many, many details in this very complex situation. So basically, the decision is not yours. The decision is theirs. They've said, I don't want any contact with you. And you're saying, okay. Does that summarize it?
But my freedom comes from letting it go, because for all these years, I felt that I needed to never end, never stop my attempt to save these people from their bad decisions. I mean,
can't
neither
do
one
that.
of the kids has ever gotten married. They don't have any kids.
John,
The
you
daughter's
can't.
beyond childbearing
John,
years.
you can't save them from bad decisions. You kept intruding.
Somewhere along the line, I thought I was. Somewhere along the line, I thought I would never stop trying.
Well,
but I'm not gonna try anymore.
You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Know when to walk away and know when to run. If they've said for years, "Leave us alone, Dad. We don't want to hear it, Dad. We don't like who you are, Dad. We don't want your help, Dad." If that's the case, for whatever their reasons are, fair or not, then the decision really is not yours. The decision is a reasonable one, which is, okay, I will do what you say. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You think you're bound by some Christian principle?
I would have been fine with it if they had if things hadn't turned out so terribly for them.
Well, I know what you're saying. You're saying, okay, as they've disengaged from me, they're making a shambles of their lives. That is very common. Matter of fact, I'd say that's 50% of the time when you got these adult kids who say, "I don't want any part of my parents," they aren't living their lives well. And their view is everybody's wrong, including my parents more than anybody else, for my bad decisions. That's how they see it. It's a duo here. One hand, I'm going to separate from you. On the other hand, I'm going to live my life badly, and it's your fault. I think if it were me and I got relentless messages, "Leave me alone," would leave them alone. I'd say I'd make a final contact, and I'd say, "I respect your decision. I'm here if you ever want to reconcile or if you ever want to get back together and talk." That's what I'd do. Quit torturing yourself, my friend. You made all your efforts.
I'm no longer available.
Well, it depends what you mean by available. I mean, if they're using you, if the only contact you ever get is because they want something, then you're probably pretty wise in saying, okay.
If they come back, I'm not open to reconciling any longer.
Oh, well, that's different. That's very different.
Because inevitably it's going to come, but it won't be for the right reasons. And I'm freeing myself.
Well, that's what you have to judge. If you're saying they're coming back because they want something, that's different than they're coming back because they've had some religious conversion or they've realized insightfully that they've mistreated Dad. Those kinds of things do happen, and you'll have to judge at the time their motive. This is Dr. Ray. Thank you for joining me. Boom, boom. All righty, thank you for joining me. Got some questions up there, and I commit to getting to them. Kim from Florida. She's been teaching for 20 years, and apparently she's on school break because she's listening. And during the year when she is teaching, she can't listen. And she's probably had a lot of slippage, and she's trying to make it up. She's trying to recover some of the lost IQ points from not listening to me over those 8 or 9 months. But she's trying now, and I give her credit for this. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Dr. Ray. I've been a substitute teacher for 10 years. Then I worked in the special needs section of the school, the high school, for 20 years. And I've noticed that the behavior of the students have a lot to do with if they had breakfast, if they stayed up all night playing video games, and the reflection of their peers, how their peers treated them, is a lot to do with their behavior. Maybe 50% of that, and then the teacher 50% of that. If the teacher has good control over the kids, they act differently than if she doesn't. There's a lot of things that determine how a student will behave in school.
Well, you're absolutely right. And what you're touching upon, Kim, is, if you want to call it the slippage or the fracture of the family, I mean, a good breakfast is something that's family-oriented. Not sitting up at night until 1 a.m. on a smartphone is, again, family supervision. So all of that points back to the parents and the stability of the family life. You're absolutely correct. I would guess that what you're talking about with the kids and their conduct, those kids who are most likely to push on the teacher, especially the weaker ones, are probably a lot worse at home than they even are in the classroom. Would you agree?
Speaking personally, I knew I better not mess up at home or at school. I was raised in a very strict family. I think it has to do with the parents individually, if they're going to be strict or if they're lenient on the child.
Well, you're absolutely correct about that. But most teachers will say what you're saying, which is the kids come in tired. They come in bleary-eyed from late hours on the phone, either through texting or contacts or surfing or social media. That's absolutely true. And it points directly back to the parent's supervision and the weakness of the parent in not allowing this. Parents are, I've seen it over the years I've been doing this. The parents, they're scared for all kinds of reasons. They're either scared or they're lazy, and they don't do what they need to do, which they know what they need to do, but they're not doing it. Takes too much effort, or they're afraid of the child's reaction, or they're afraid of causing psychological damage and resentment. All kinds of reasons that I have to explore in therapy to get them past their willingness to be a stronger parent. And you're right, it trickles into the school setting. It's more likely.
What do you think about society and how the two parents have to work to make ends meet? The child is left a lot at home on their own, doing what they want, not supervised.
There's two factors. One is, as the tax burden has climbed, it takes a larger percentage of people's income. And tax burden, all kinds of taxes, not just income. That's part of it. The second thing is we live a much higher standard. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked in a factory. We were solidly middle class. We had a 1,200 square foot home with 1.5 baths and 1 car. We had 1 phone, obviously no computers, no air conditioning, but we were solidly middle class. So because we want to continue to live higher, a higher standard, we want the latest technology, we want the latest conveniences, we want all of these things. You're right. That can only happen with 2 people working. Absolutely correct. So what is lost is so much of what parents bring to the table when one of them is able to supervise the situation. You're absolutely correct. I don't know culturally how that's going to be resolved. I think one of the ways it's being resolved is people are just having less kids. They're not doing it.
I think so too.
It's less and less kids. We're now at a 1.8 kid replacement rate, and you need 2.1 just to maintain your population. Kim, all good observations. Thank you for all you do there with the kids at school. This is Dr. Ray. I'll be right back.
Brought to you by the nonprofit Seton Home Study.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray Guarendi here. You want to pass the Catholic faith on to your children? A very good way is to teach your children at home. You want to protect your kids from the toxic culture that surrounds us? Do you want to have a greater influence than what your kids are learning? Once more, a great way is to teach your children at home. No teacher is going to care about your kids as much as you do. Seton Home Study School is the best way to teach your children at home. Go to setonhome.org. setonhome.org.
The Heart of the Interior Life with Elizabeth Jangle.
In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. The interior life is the life of our soul. It is our inner world. It is the very depths of our hearts. Entering within our hearts, which isn't always an easy task, is necessary for the spiritual work of discernment. St. Ignatius of Loyola gives us unparalleled instruction for identifying, understanding, and responding to the various movements of the human heart that we experience on a daily basis. St. Ignatius's 14 Rules for the Discernment of Spirits gives us practical tools that will set our hearts free to respond with greater attentiveness to the Holy Spirit and to reject what is not from Him. The Holy Spirit speaks to our hearts in a personal and loving way. His light is His love. Let us ask for the intercession of St. Ignatius of Loyola to bring new light for our interior lives.
For more information, visit AveMariaRadio.net.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Ray Guarendi. We know personally that when a loved one passes suddenly, we are relieved that a will was already in place. At mycatholicwill.com, a legal will is as simple as 15 minutes filling out information about your family. Thanks to our partnership with mycatholicwill.com, when you use the promo code AVE, A-V-E, your will is absolutely free. No hidden costs whatsoever. Visit mycatholicwill.com. Yeah, somebody said, show a little more class on your program, Dr. Ray. I said, how do I do that? They said, vocabulary. Use higher vocabulary. Try to be a little more cosmopolitan. And I said, well, okay, I will be more cosmopolitan, but I can't even mention, I don't even know some of the paintings that Mozart did. I said, just play music to sound that way. Marty from Ottawa, Canada. Hello, Marty.
Hello, Dr. Ray. Good to talk to you.
Sounds like I'm going to save you some money.
Well, no, it's not me. It's I have 4 children. My eldest is. I've listened to your show. I've been listening to you about 35 years.
Easy there, buddy.
Well, I could have said 40.
I know. Jeez.
Okay, so my oldest son, 42, he decided to go quiet on us about 2.5 years ago, and although we've reached out, it's absolutely zilch. The only feedback I get are from the other children. I have 4 children. My wife and I have 4 children. We've been married 49 years. So my question is, I've been thinking about this and wondering, I've tried to reconcile, don't know what to do. I've listened to your program. I know this is a fairly familiar, common situation. Initially, I was quite, shall we say, I had revenge in my heart. Now that's gone. I tried to reach out again since I reconciled with that. Still nothing back. So now I've got 4 children. They're all in the will. And I'm thinking that it's not fair to the other 3 to include this person in the will. And I'm thinking of cutting him out. I wondered if you had any thoughts about that.
Well, obviously, Marty, I can't tell you what to do. Right. I know a lot of parents, I personally think rightfully so, say, look, if we got a kid who's written us off, where is it written that I turn around and give him money?
Okay.
Out of some sense of, parental obligation?
Yeah, that's the only thing I come up with. And the other side of it is if reconciliation does occur, I can always put him back in.
Well, that's exactly right. That's right. Now, when you say he went silent, do you have any triggering point where this happened?
Honestly, Dr. Ray, my wife and I have pulled our hair out trying to figure this out. The last time we met, we're pretty good Catholics, and he informed us that he was leaving the church for a Protestant church. And I asked him, I said, so are you missing the Eucharist? And he said, no. And I said, okay, well, Doctor, he was very well catechized, I assure you of that. And so I said, okay, well, we'll just wait and see where this goes. We'll let the rope go. And then the next thing I know, we're not talking. And the next thing you know, I'm reaching out and there's no response. So that's about 2.5 years ago.
And he's written off his siblings too?
No, he's talking to, our family has 2 older boys and 2 younger children. I was in the Air Force. So there's a bit of a gap between the 2 children, the 2 groups of children. My youngest son is talking to him, but he feels obligated not to tell me what's going on. What I do get are snippets from my younger daughter, through social media, and it's not good. He's talking like he was abused as a child and so on and so forth, and that's the furthest thing from the case. But I don't know, and I don't care. I've done what I can do as a Catholic, and I'm just saying, okay, so I'm 74, so, I could ride my motorcycle and run into a wall the next day. I don't know. But my point is, at this point in my life, I'm saying I'm really not interested in giving you a whack of dough.
You're a minority, Marty. My experience has been that this epidemic of these kids deciding that their parenting was not just human, it was abusive, is all over the place. And I imagine Canada's experiencing it just like the U.S., not just probably like a lot of Western civilizations, not so much in developing countries. One lady from Africa says there's not a peep of this in her country. So given that, yeah, I think this is a uniquely kind of Western phenomenon. You're a minority, but you're a growing minority, that these parents are saying, look, I've been written off. And I have not been written off because I was pathological or abusive or any such thing. I was a parent who was simply doing what I thought was best. And my child has decided my religion stinks, I stink, the way he was raised stinks, and therefore get out of my life. I wouldn't be totally surprised if he went to a therapist and a therapist confirmed all that. But that said, you have every right as a parent to say, I'm not giving you any money. That's crazy. Now, if you say, but after I die, he's really going to be convinced that we're as wretched as he thought. Well, I want to say, after you die, so what? What's that matter? The other thing is this. Are your other children showing any sign that they think what he's doing is wrong?
Yes, absolutely. My two younger children in particular, and as far as my parenting goes, when I reach my particular judgment, I'm not sure of most of my life, but the one thing I am sure of is I can look our Lord in the eye and said, I did my best, and it was a great job, Your Honor. Over to you.
My experience is the Canadian culture, the Canadian zeitgeist mindset is very liberal. And so I could see how he could be convinced that traditional parents like you shortchanged him terribly. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. The only other thing I can think of, he followed in my career footsteps, and I was able to guide his career and help him through some pretty big hurdles in his career. And the only other thing I can think of is that I can lay this down to is he's not man enough to admit his own mistakes and failures, and that's what I think, but I don't know. And Dr. Ray, at this point, I don't really care.
Well, I personally wish more parents had that attitude, and not because I'm saying that they should be unchristian or unaccepting or open to reconciliation, but they're so distressed, they're so disturbed, they're so hurt, they're going to carry it to their graves, and at some point they got to put it to rest, and it sounds like you've put it to rest.
Thank you. Thank you.
I told my wife that. I said, we're not estranged from any of our children, but if we were, I know me, and I'm like you. Whatever faults and failings I had as a parent were because I was human and not because I was deliberate. And if any of them would decide, yeah, you ripped me off, Dad, you just didn't parent me the way I wanted to be parented as I look back on it, you're right. My attitude would be, well, I'll pray for you. Live your life. I love you. Let me know if and when you want to come around and talk. That'd be my attitude. And I think it'd be my wife's too. She's pretty much on the same page with that. And I think they either don't want to sever contact with us because they love us, or they don't want to lose the money. If you know what I'm saying.
I think this is justice. It's justice for the other three children.
Thank you, Marty. God bless you. And thanks. Hey, one other thing. Can you back off on a 35-year listening? I mean, I appreciate the fact that you listen consistently, but man, 35 years, you're talking. Well, let me put you this way. I had a birthday recently, and there were 50 candles on the cake, and that was a piece I had.
Well, Dr. Ray, not only have I been listening to you for 35 years, I saw you both times you came to Ottawa. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye. This show's too much fun. You know what? And part of it is, as I get older, it's kind of like I'm remembering my grandpa. When you tell him something, he'd go, nah. that was the extent of his distressing reaction. Nah. I said, Grandpa, how you spell that? I want to know that. And it's like, as I'm getting older, it's like, nah. You realize at some point in your life, you go, I can't distress myself over the things I cannot change. And I would have to say that's probably the biggest source of distress in most people's lives. The things they cannot change. Well, I can't change this. I'd have to go. And I don't want to change Andrew Kruchek and my
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.